this here should show me live, correct? Oh, fucking beautiful. Oh my god. That's so good. Wow. That's actually fantastic. And then let me go and check Twitch. Am I? Yeah, playing Scarlet Violet? Ooh. Let me see. Yo, Saturn. Hey, Happy New Year, buddy. If you see it, then I know you're on Twitch, so it has to be live on Twitch. Did I get it right? Sorry, I'm trying to multi-stream here, and I went through a whole bunch of setup, and I think I actually got it working. Let's go. Fat dub. First try? Speed running, multi-stream? Alright, and I'm jet lagged, and my PC is about to blow up? Hell yeah. First try, no look, no scope. And I think I got everything set up. Got all my settings right. The last thing to do is this right here. Yeah, I had a very eventful end of the year. It was a lot of fun though. I got to go home, spend time with my family, and which is like a once-a-year thing. And then as I left, my dad at the airport was like, "Hey man, skip next Christmas." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And he goes, "Come in the summer. There's nothing to do. It's too cold here." I'm like, "Oh, you sure?" He's like, "Yeah, don't come for Christmas next year. I'm sick of seeing you when it's cold." It's like, all right, well, if you asked. Okay, father. I guess I can just post to Twitter on my PC. Jet lagged. I cannot, like, I went to the States, and of course jet lag is real because it's literally 12 hours behind Japan. So literally that's the opposite side of the earth. And I was jet lagged for maybe a week and a half, and I was only there for like 2 weeks. So as soon as I got adjusted, I came back here, and then it was the complete opposite. I would stay awake until like 7 p.m. and I just couldn't stay up after that. So I would pass out and then wake up at like 2 a.m. and then I couldn't go back to sleep until 5 a.m. and then I wake up at was it like 7 or 8? Like, this is hell. I don't wish this on my worst enemy. So now I'm like trying to readjust after the 2 weeks of adjusting to US times. You know what it is? I gotta get my folks to come visit me more often. They came in November, but nah, they come in next Christmas. Let me see. Let me kill the tweet real fast, y'all. Initial. I got to go to New York though, and I, for the first time, had New York pizza. A buddy of mine is a baker in New York. He runs. He's the head baker for a cafe that's like based out of, I think, Denmark. One of those near Scandinavian countries. Who was that? Appreciate you, buddy. One of those Scandinavian countries. Near one of those Scandinavian countries. And hey, thanks for the subscription. You guys must be on YouTube. Howdy. And he's like, yeah, I know some really good places. Whoa, young Shireen. Merry New Year. Happy Christmas, friend. Howdy, folks. And I hope you're doing good. Hope you had a good holiday, by the way, big dog. And thanks again for the support. But yeah, my friend's a baker out of some Denmark, Scandinavian place. Appreciate you folks for the subscriptions, by the way. And he was like, yeah, all right, I'm a baker. I know how pizza's made. These are the two places you go in all of New York for good pizza. The first place was, God, what was the name? It was called Scar. Scar with 2 R's. It's like next to some weird ass little yellow, like hippie shop in New York, and that place was amazing. They don't allow you to eat inside. It's like they have too much foot traffic, and I had that. Fantastic. Had like that's like OG style, big fat ass New York pizza. And then within the next hour, I was at this other place on like the other side of town, and it was called oh god, what was the name? I can't remember the name of this place. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Jesus Christ. Thank you guys. Much appreciated. Tio Loki, what's up, man? Happy New Year. But I can't find the name of the place, but just know that it's not like the triangle type pizza. It was like square, and it was I got like a, what was it, Italian sausage. Oh my god, I wanted to fight somebody. That pizza was so good. You ever had food that was just so good, like so delicious that you just like you're energized? It's like a senzu bean in real life. Like I could fight 47 people right now, no problem. I'm a badass. This pizza done things to me. But so yeah, I got to try New York pizza for the first time. That was fantastic. I got to hit up some of the Japanese local, well not Japanese, but the English locals for Digimon. I went to this little place called Silk Road Gaming in New York City, where the front of the place, it's like a cart shop, but like the front of the shop is not a cart shop. It's like a cafe. And if you don't know that that cart shop is there, there's no way you're finding this place. It's like in the middle of Chinatown, and you go through the cafe, and in the very back is like another room, and in that room is the actual cart shop. It's like you go down in the room, down some stairs, and it's just like right there, it just opens up. It was very cool. The people there were super friendly. A little sweaty. That's fine though. I mean, they are getting ready for nationals, I think, in America right now. As like, I guess the competitive year is starting to wind down. So big events are happening, and they have a new set coming out. I think it's either out this week or next week. Can't remember the exact dates. I don't remember. I don't follow English dates. Sorry. But yeah, they were really cool. I got to play a couple games. They were so nice. They let me use my little like Japanese card Dark Nightmon deck. I like took a deck that was like viable in English, like they had all the cards in English. I just used those cards in Japanese, and like, yeah, sure, no problem. That was a lot of fun. And then I also went to my hometown locals, which is always a good time. One of the guys, they remember me from last year, which is nice. I brought them a bunch of swag from Japan, mostly just like Japanese stuff like playmats and the memory counters. It's kind of like, where's it at? I know I got one around here somewhere. This one right here, like this. So I found out last year the hard way that English folks don't actually get these, but they're in the end of all Japanese packs. Like every Japanese pack you open, you'll get one of these. So you open 2 packs, typically you're gonna get both. So I gave them a bunch of that stuff. But yeah, now that I'm back, I realized that I missed the first 2 weeks of BT16, Beginning Observer. So I got off the plane at 5 p.m. on Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday. No, it was Monday. No, it was Tuesday. It was Tuesday. Got off the plane and went home, dropped all my stuff off, and I immediately messaged my friend Javi and said, hey, those boxes I asked you to get for me, I gotta get those, homie, right now. So he gave me the boxes. I went back home afterward. We chatted a little bit at one of the card shops here, and I opened up my 4 boxes before I went to sleep at 7 because that jet lag is super real. And I pulled Alt Art Magnamon X Antibody, so Alt Art Secret Rare, regular Magnamon X Antibody, Rapidmon X Antibody, and the 2 girl tamers, Yule and or whatever her name is, Yole, and Kari. And I immediately took the Magnamon, and I immediately took the Kari, and I sold them shits so I could buy more. copies of Magnamon and Rapidmon. Refreshing and chilling for first stream of the year. How was your guys' holiday? Anybody do anything cool? BT6 impressions and chilling for... Kill this tweet really quickly so people know I'm actually live on Twitter. Let me see. Oh, interesting. That is... So give me a second, I have to make sure this is up on YouTube. I think that's right. Yeah, I'm trying to, for folks who just popped in, I'm trying to multi-stream, so I need to make sure that this is... Oh my god, it's unlisted. Why is it unlisted? Why is my live unlisted? That's not okay. Visibility public? That would probably help, eh? What a dumbass I am. Okay, I think that's right. I think that's okay. Alright, so there. Plus button. I need to get like a template so I can do this a little bit more quickly. But I wanted to, yeah, I speed ran the past. Oh, that's not right. I speed ran like making all the decks I needed to, getting all the cards I needed to, and testing them out a little bit. So I want to talk about my first impressions today, and I have a neat little handy graphic to go over that I think will make it maybe a little bit more digestible and palatable. So that'll be fun. Hey, what's up, what's up? I'm assuming you folks are on YouTube, right? Shikamaru and Liam, I think you guys are... Let me know if you guys are on YouTube. Hey, Whelmed, what's up, man? I know Whelmed is definitely on YouTube. That's a name I definitely recognize. Where's my underscore? Am I tripping? What the hell? I can't win. I am... Oh, shit. Am I on the wrong keyboard? Man, living abroad sucks. I gotta manage to like keep like Japanese and English keyboards at the same time. Nothing works right. Shift underscore base. All right. Now I think I got this. Boop. And how do I get a link to the YouTube? 10-second lag? For real? Ain't no way. I've got it on low latency. Share. There it is. Copy. You have keyboards do that with the French? Man, Japanese is the worst because the letters sometimes don't even line up. It's actually hell. Alright, there we go. I think I've got it. Praying my computer also doesn't just explode because from the tutorials that I watched, they said that you're technically encoding to 2 different places, so you have to be really careful with with like your computer handling all the resources. So we'll see. If my shit just goes black, then F's in chat because I'm dead. All right, there we go. Got it. Tweet killed. So where was I? Oh yes. Friend just showed me his janky Ukon Alliance deck when he gets Metal Garurumon 13. Damn. Yeah, Ukon is kind of the wave. Let's see if I can show you guys this really quickly. Like, I said I came home and I built like pretty much every deck I could think of, or at least put together something for every deck I could think of. So let me see if I can show that here. Is it this one? Yeah. So, Nightclaw, Fang, Nightclaw, Lightfang. One of the two. Grace Nova. This one is Magnamon X. Where's the actual Magnamon? Hold on. Oh yeah. Magnamon X. This one is Imperial Dramon. Yeah, Imperial Dramon. Yeah. The Shakomon deck. This one's like the defense-oriented partition deck. And I think this is Sylphimon. Yeah, Sylphimon. How am I getting these on the first pull? Nice. This one is Myotismon. I'm still not really sure what I'm doing with this deck. I feel like I might be building this one wrong, but we'll see. And then over here I've got, Jesus Christ, Tyrant Kabuteron. Okay, I didn't get this one on the first pull. Where you at, Tyrant? Here you go. Yeah, Tyrant Kabuteron. Yeah, I'm getting there. Rapidmon X is right here. Rapidmon is in the building. That one's kind of nasty. My favorite so far with the new sleeves I got. Also, these look so good. I'm so happy with how these turned out. Check that out. New sleeves in the building. This one is Dorugoramon. Yeah, Dorugoramon, which looks really good. Will I be showing off Shakomon deck list soon? I don't know. I do not know. Also, yeah, I forgot about this. They came out with new sleeves, and these look really cool. There's like a neon black version and like a neon light version. So this is the neon blacks. These are the official sleeves that they came out with. So I just use those as egg sleeves now. So, Dorugoramon and the new SOC cards. Black is Digi Police. Digi Police didn't really get a whole lot, but it did get this, the new Tank Dramon. He is fantastic. His effect is actually really, really strong. I bought 3 boxes of BT16, got Yole and Kari. Me too, that's the one I got, Yole and Kari, Rapid X, Alt Art, and Magnamon. Alt Art, I got Yole and Kari and the Magnamon X. I traded in those though, so I could get regular copies of those cards for normal prices. And does Tyrant still run Promo Grandis? I don't know, man. Your guess is as good as mine. And Fenrir? Yeah, Fenrir. Fer Lugon got like 2 or 3 cards that I think are super useful. Did you test OmniZoo? No, man. For folks who don't know, I literally like this week got back from America. I got all my stuff on Tuesday and just immediately started building and playtesting. Hello. Oh, Hell Luga, you mean? Don't they run Grand Kawaga Ace? Yeah, a lot of folks I think have been running Grand Kawaga Ace now. But I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I made like 10 decks, and I'll be messing with those for the next couple weeks. It's interesting. I can see how strong Magnamon, Rapidmon X, and Imperial Dramon are, but the deck that I'm most interested in is actually Dorugoramon. There's some really cool stuff in this deck that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. But that brings me to my... Hey, how's it going? Welcome back. That brings me to the topic of today's stream. And I thought about just doing this as a video, and then I said, yeah, you know what, I think it'll be funner as a stream, because I think it could take a little bit more time than I'd like for a normal video. So let me see if I can find it. The Dodemons aren't cheap, really. Dodemon not cheap. I feel like maybe it's just because the set just came out, or we're still early on to the set's lifespan. But I don't think he's that crazy. He's like any of the other SLC cards, right? That's not what I wanted. Slideshow? Here we go. All right. So I actually put this together. So I made an early impressions presentation for the BT16 stuff so far, and of course take everything what I'm about to say with a grain of salt, because again, my word is not law. I am human, so I also can make mistakes. And again, these are just my opinions, so don't go crazy if you don't share the same opinion. That out of the way. Also, I'm not doing any deck lists. If you ask me for a deck list, I'm going to timestamp your comment with this moment in the video, let you know that it is a listening comprehension issue on your side. Keep that in mind. That being said, let me pop over here. And I think you guys can see that, right? Yep. Cool. So I went through all the decks that I did, and I thought a little bit about the current meta after playing a couple of games with most of the decks. I played a few games. I haven't played extensively with a lot of them. So again, very early impressions. Why do this now? So number one reason is because I was in America for the release of this set. Actually, the day that I left to go to America, the following day, the day after that, the day after I left, this set came out. The cool thing is, the early parts of this set still had all of the Anubismon stuff and the Grace Nova Loop stuff, but now all that's gone. As of January 5th, all that stuff has been finally banned, restricted, whatever, choice restricted, whatever you want to call it, and now we have just the pure, unadulterated BT16 meta with all of the crazy stuff and wild stuff from before gone. And now I think I can, without those decks in the environment, I don't have to worry about like how those change things up. I can take a look at just what the game looks like right now. And honestly, I'm really happy with how it worked out. I don't know if they changed the battle director again, or maybe they, took them a while to get the gears rolling, but now things feel good. Things are strong. There's definitely a lot of strong decks, but I don't think anything is busted. Like super busted anyway. So let's see. So I'm going to talk about these different decks here, these 12 decks. Hey, Snow Queen. Howdy. Doing pretty good. Hope you had a good new year. Happy holidays. I'm jet lagged as hell, though, so there's that. Which is why I'm streaming so late. But I'll cover most of the decks that were introduced in BT16. Beginning Observer. I need to remember the name of this set is actually Beginning Observer. Hwomon, Gatomon, Imperial Dramon, Magnamon Armor, Myotismon, Tyrant Kabuteron, Patamon, Armadillomon. Is he Armadillomon in English? Or is it Armagimon? Can't remember. Fer Lugon, Digi Police, Numon and Ukon Rush. So Numon did come out in the set, but Ukon got a little bit more support, and I think that Numon can use that. So we'll just lump that in together there. Nightclaw and Light Fang. These cards, they only got like 2 new cards, but those 2 cards are pretty good. So we'll talk about those. Rapidmon Armor, conversing with Magnamon Armor there. And then the final one is Dodemon, which is the one that I'm most interested in. Is it Armadillomon in English? Thank you, Flaccid Pancake. So let's talk a little bit about each of these decks, and when I talk about them, I give my impressions. I have some nice little handy graphics that I think folks might like. So The first one is Hwomon and Gatomon. So you can see here on the left side, I've kind of like rated all of these decks on a star rating basis. Rating. Whatever that combination of words that sounds good are. So it's goes from 1 being the weakest to 5 being the strongest. So in terms of offense, a 2, defense a 1, speed a 3, removals a 3, and ease of use I think is a 3. So after playing this deck a little bit, so some of the things that I found that were super cool about it. Salamon and Gatomon, like the purple-yellow side of this deck, are genuinely just really good at recycling cards and trash. Even if something of yours gets destroyed, you can always bet on those 2 cards being able to help you recycle the cards in the trash so you can get another thing up as soon as possible. The other thing is that the Hwomon side of things has Akilamon. And that Akilamon has jamming, and as a level 4 with jamming, and this deck being able to get to it so easily is really nice, and it puts on a lot of pressure in the early game, so that it forces your opponent to put something out on board. That was always really helpful, because this deck also has lots of effects that destroy other Digimon, and if your opponent doesn't have anything out, then it's hard to do that, right? So in this case, having that Akilamon out there is just a really great way for them to force something out, so that you can pop it later with your level 5 or level 6. That Valkyrymon is Lord Nightmon support. Yeah, for sure. A lot of folks were talking about that as well. Lord Nightmon getting revival. It's good to see it. And the other cool thing is that the mixture, or the combination of Sylphimon and Valkyrymon can actually drop a 15k. Sylphimon's got the on Digivolve, whenever you Joggers into this bad boy, you can give one of your opponent's Digimon minus 7k until the end of their turn. And then the following turn, if they were to attack with a Digimon, you can then go into Valkyrie Ace and give them minus 8k. So that's like a blanket 15k to just like pop something. Not blanket, but 15k to pop something. So that's nice. Some of the things that I think were really tough about playing this deck. The first Tamer is... This deck, I think you can run 2 sets of Tamers. The first one, I don't think... Sorry, the first one I think is always going to be set as the dual Tamer from this set, the Yulekari Tamer. The second one, though, is kind of hard, and I don't really know what to run. I tried to run the I think it's BT15 Sora. Felt a little clunky. I tried the Tai and Sora dual Tamers, the red-yellow ones. Those also felt a little clunky. So yeah, I'm not really sure what that other Tamer should be, and honestly, whenever I had another Tamer in hand, it felt kind of useless, so I'm not really sure what to run there still. And also the second part is Valkyrymon Ace has the nice ability where it would destroy something, but if it doesn't destroy something, you get Sec +1. And that's cool because it gives you a way to win the game faster. But it's kind of, how do I put this? It's great that you have a way to attack and win the game more quickly, but at the same time, that ability comes off of an ace card, and that can sometimes be risky, because that means you might prematurely drop the ace card on your own turn, spending the memory, and then later on you have that ace card on the board, and your opponent can target it to get memory back from the overflow. So I like Valkyrymon in some cases, but in a lot of cases, I feel like if my opponent didn't force it out on a burst Digivolve, then I really didn't want to play it by myself. You know what I mean? So those are the things that I thought were kind of tough about the deck. I will say that the level 4s for this deck were sometimes hard to build around. I like the Akilamon, I like the Gatomon, but like finding those last couple slots were kind of tough. You've seen most people play the Hwomon line only. Yeah, I've seen some people play Hwomon. I've also seen some people run like some of the bird stuff mixed in, so like the Biomon for a little bit more, like I think it's the BT15 Biomon for more search. But yeah, I'm not really sure. My line was like pretty basic. My lineup was pretty basic. Again, I just got in this week, so this is like easiest things I could put together or throw together. So yeah, Hwomon, Gatomon, not bad. A little bit more offensive than defensive, but that still leaves a couple of things to be desired, I think. We might need like 1 or 2 more cards to help this deck out. let me see, what's the next one? Oh, yeah, if you guys have questions or anything or comments, let me know, and I'll cover those after I go over my little bits here. But the next one here is Imperial Dramon. Offense 4 stars, defense 3, speed 4, removal 3, and ease of use is 4. So the things that are cool about this deck is that Partition really forces your opponent to fully clear, or they risk just getting hit like 3 more times the following turn. Three more times minimum, it feels like. Because the Partition forces the level 5 into 2 level 4s, and if they don't have a way to clear those things, you basically just like get the jamming Hwomon, and then you go right back into your level 5 with DNA Digivolve, attack again, and then if you can go into level 6, you basically just win the game. So that's a really scary situation if they just pop the level 5, Partition drops, and then that's it. They have to, I feel like, clear everything on a single turn. Also, Dragon Mode's ability, it almost has, I would call it, I don't know, like Blast Digivolve Plus, where it's allowed to Evo whenever your opponent not only attacks, because there is the Ace card, but also if they were to play a Digimon or evolve a Digimon. So basically, if they make any move on the board, you always have that threat of the big Dragon Mode or big Fighter Mode from your hand, which is terrifying. You see the fighter mode here, and he can essentially return anything back to the deck. Yeah, like this. I think his regular Evo effect is that something that has less sources than him gets sent back to the bottom of the deck. And then there's another one, I think, when he attacks, where if it's rested, he sends it to the bottom of the deck. That's pretty disgusting. So yeah, he's got a ton of removal, and like he's like your basic, not basic, but like your strongest removal card. Does the jamming still exist in Imperial Dramon? Yeah, because of the Hwomon from the EX1 set, he has the ability that if you have, I think it's like free trait or Imperial Dramon in the name, he gets jamming. I believe that's the effect. Someone double check me. But yeah. So yeah, lots of very strong things offensively and defensively with this one, or this deck. Some of the challenges though is that right now a lot of decks in the game have big Digimon with protection, and this deck does struggle a little bit to get over the 15k mark, with a few notable exceptions. One of those being the BT12 Imperial Dramon to help you boost your DP. The other one being the Vmon that you see right here, who gives you just plus 2k on your turn. You have to kind of like have the stars aligned to get that sort of lineup, but it's possible. But outside of those things being in your stack specifically, you're gonna have a hard time getting over things that are like 15k. So keep that in mind, especially if they have protection. So yeah, lots of cool stuff. The new the new Pile Dramon really does affect or better it betters the deck more than like the old starter deck Pile Dramon. Because I think for a long time most folks were using him where you just DNA Digivolve into the starter deck Pile Dramon, return a level or 6,000 to your opponent's hand, and then attack twice. But this guy is really good too. So and also he has Partition, which is just bonkers. So yeah, very strong. The offense here is so high because, like I said before, in a single turn you can swing so many times, over and over and over and over. Are the stars rating in a vacuum or WRT the other decks in the meta at the moment? I kind of compared them to relative to the other decks that I covered in this set, or in this presentation. Yeah. So they're a bit relative here. Hey, Radio, what's up, man? Thank you. Yeah, I had a really good vacation. I'm jet lagged as hell, unfortunately, but we're fighting through it, which is why this stream is so late. Hope you had a good holiday too, big dog. Let's see. So yeah, Imperial Dramon. Also, it's not that difficult to use. It really isn't. I thought it was going to be more complicated with like the effects and the Vmon and the Hwomon stuff and the Partition, but it really wasn't. Felt like it was really nice. Hwomon with Raid, great point, Flaccid Pancake. I don't really use him that much. I think I tried him out early on, but I didn't care for him. But Raid is actually a busted ability right now in the game. Raid is very strong, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. I actually have a slide specifically for that. The next deck I want to talk about is Magnamon Armor, and this is like, whew, the new hotness in town right now. So, offense 3, defense, like perfect defense, 5 defense. That's like the highest rating I gave. Speed is 4, removal 2, ease of use is 4 as well. So what's really cool about this deck is that this fella here, the Magnamon X Antibody, the new one, is almost like insurmountable. What is it? Whenever a security is reduced in some way, he unrests, he becomes active, he gains 3000 DP, and he's unaffected by effects. So he's a 15k, basically unkillable, can't return to hand, can't return to deck. He doesn't even get touched by effects until the end of your turn. And that makes getting around him very, very tricky. The next bit here is that the starter deck Magnamon, the one that was included in the Tyranton starter deck, is actually really good as a removal card and a security card. So the security is like he digivolves, and the removal option is that he just source strips something 1, and then something that doesn't have a source he just gets rid of, sends it back to your opponent's hand. Yeah, Shady Water, this is why Raid is so good, because of the Magnamon X Antibody. Like I was saying, Magnamon X Antibody, because he is nearly insurmountable, one of the ways that you can stop him on his turn from activating that effect, because if he just swings on your security, then he's just going to become untouchable every single turn. Yo! What up, DF? Thanks, Big Dog. Happy New Year. Hope you had a good stream. We're just going over some of the new BT16 stuff. I just got back to Japan, for folks who don't know, and I'm jet lagged as hell, and I decided to use this late night time to try to multi-stream, and I'm also going over, I made a nice little presentation for all the decks that are happening or that are, I guess, introduced in this new set. Right now, we're at, like, the big dog deck, which is Magnamon Armor, like, probably one of the poster boys for this set. What's up, Akuda? How you doing, big dog? And Magnamon is, like I said before, folks just getting in, he's like an insurmountable wall. If he checks in your opponent's security, or any security gets checked or reduced, he becomes 15k untouchable Digimon, can't be affected by effects for a single turn. Also, he has blocker and armor purge. My lighting looks real good. It's because I bought it a second light. That's why. I stopped being a cheap ass. But yeah, like I was saying, Magnamon X, he is the wall, the Great Wall. So the way to stop him from getting that effect to become untouchable is that you have to either block his own attack so that he can't check one of your security, and then on your turn you can do something to kill him before you check security. However, there is this nice little option card called Blinding Ray. It's a yellow 0-cost option, 0 cost, fantastic, which says if you delete or if you remove one of your security from your own security stack and throw it in the trash, you gain 2 memory. And luckily, that procs Magnamon's effect. So even if he can't hit your opponent's security on his turn, you always have Blinding Ray as a backup so that you can activate his effect and keep him as that huge wall. And yeah, he is hella annoying to fight right now. So those are the really fun things about the deck. Like, once you have Magnamon down, and it's very easy to get him down, your opponent's going to have a hard time like advancing forward in the game. Some of the tough parts, though. His defense is amazing, but his offense, not so great. He doesn't really have any like super offensive effects, or any offensive effects at all, actually, that really help him win the game very quickly. So the wall, once the wall goes up, that's great, but as long as there's nothing behind that wall, like other Digimon that are just like hitting your security, you're pretty okay. You have some time to like figure out a way to get rid of him. So there's that. He can't kill you. He typically can't kill you quickly. There are a couple of cases where he can attack a little bit faster, but far and few between. So just know that if you do see this guy up on your opponent's side of the board, you always have a chance, or you've got some time to take care of him. So that's the one good thing about this deck. Defense, 5, amazing. Offense, he's using a regular sword. He's, you know, nothing crazy. Sorry for the late, congrats, but congrats on the marriage. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Question: what is your take on black base Black Wargreymon control at the moment? In what setting? In what setting? Do you mean in BT16 or else? Something different. Then Claws. Who needs offense? Absolutely. Who needs offense when you are the wall? It really is. I mean, he can attack 2 times, but typically he's going to stay up after his first attack. So yeah, Magnamon Armor is like one of the decks to look out for right now. BT16 is like, he is one of the poster boys. Moving along to one of the lesser known decks of the set, Myotismon. Myotismon is... I had some trouble with this. So offense 2 stars, defense 2 stars, speed is 3, removal's not bad at 3, pretty average, and then ease of use is a little bit more difficult than regular. So ease of use here, 5 is an easy to use deck, and 1 is like a more difficult to use deck. So this guy's got a 2. And what I thought was fun about this deck is that the new, I think, I know I'm gonna butcher this. I think it's Arakunemon or Arakunemon maybe, Arakunemon. I don't know. And the Mummymon Tamer, it lets you get to your level 5s really quickly, which is nice. I have a feeling that you might be able to abuse those guys in other engines. I think you might, because they give you level 5 very quickly. And so you can get to level 6 that has a really strong effect and then probably use that. But these guys let you get to your level 5s really quickly, which means you can go into your Myotismon or Myotismon in English, I think it is, really, really fast. And the new Myotismon, I gotta get my English translations here correct. He gives purple some welcome Tamer destruction. I think a lot of other colors right now have some way to like mess with Tamers, but purple I think didn't for a while, so it's good to see purple get something here. So don't correct me if I'm wrong, but is this the first purple Tamer destruction? I think. But yeah, he has that nice little bit to destroy Tamers, which I think is great, especially for getting rid of those like pesky memory setters. So that's nice. And some of the things that I thought were tough, and I think that the level 4s for this deck, like building for some level 4s was kind of tough. Maybe my build here was just a little weird or off. But I had a tough time choosing some level 4s that were impactful for the deck. I ended up running like what is it, like Devimons, like things like this, like the starter deck Devimon, and I think Raremons. But outside of that, I don't really know what else to run. The second thing was that having to destroy your Myotismon Ace with the Arakunemon and Mummymon Tamer in order to get a Myotismon or Myotismon out is kind of nasty, because you have to essentially give memory away through the overflow to get your level 6 out, which kind of don't feel good, you know? And again, this might be just the way I built the deck, and I could have built it wrong. Again, I am very fallible. But yeah, having to get rid of this guy, like your little, there we go, having to get rid of your guy who's going to give your opponent memory to get your big boy out kind of sucks. River House, what's up, man? Ah, yeah, you guys are right. The Lucemon Chaos Mode did pop Tamers. I forgot about him. Maybe we won't forget about him very long once EX6 pops, because I heard that he might be the move there. But yeah, I think that of all the decks that I'll talk about today, Myotismon is probably the one that I need to like go back and take a look at the build, because maybe I just built it wrong. But we'll see. The next one is Tyrant Kabuteron. Now, we talked about how we talked about how Magnamon X Antibody is the poster boy for this set, or one of the poster boys for this set. Tyrant Kabuteron might be like his cousin. Very similar effects, but a bit different at the same time. So, offense is 2. Again, offense, not that great. Defense, though, perfect defense. To the point where I think that he's sometimes harder to get rid of than the Magnamon X Antibody. Speed 3, not bad for this deck. Removal 3, he's got pretty decent removal. I mean, green is typically a color that wants to like attack on board it wants to attack on board as its form of removal. It of course can do that with this deck, but there's other ways that they can get around stuff as well. And then ease of use, I've got 5 stars. I think this is a very, very easy deck to use. And honestly, if you're jumping into Digimon and BT16 is like the first set or one of the first sets you played with, I definitely recommend this deck. It's pretty cheap to build. Maybe the Tintomon is gonna run you a couple, and maybe the Tyrant Kabuteron. But outside of those two, I think the deck is actually pretty cheap. Maybe you can go ham. Maybe you don't, in the early builds, you don't need to use training cards or, yeah, the training cards. You can use something else. But, yeah, I think the deck is pretty easy to build. And, yeah, it's, honestly, as a person who built the Kabuteron deck as their green deck in the last set, and I was super hyped for him. Again, Tintomon was one of my favorite cards. One of my favorite Digimon. It's good to see another type of bug in the form of the Kabuteron stuff get a lot of cool stuff and a little bit of time to shine. Some things that are really cool about this deck. Tyrant Kabuteron, the 14k level 6 here, can easily reach 20k DP on an opponent's turn. Now, I think in the past, it was always the case that you know, you could get to like 20k or 18k on your own turn, but doing it on your opponent's turn was nigh impossible. This guy makes it so simple to do. And the new Meta Life Kawagamon gives you the Izzy effect from BT14, where you can redirect attacks into one of your Bug-type Digimon or Insect-type Digimon. So if you take all of that and then you compound it with Tyrant Kabuteron's ability to, first of all, become a 20k on your opponent's turn, as well as prevents your opponent's Digimon's effects while he's rested, it's super nasty. So he basically becomes untouchable by your opponent's effects or Digimon effects, 20k, and you can redirect stuff into him. Not much gets through him. Not much at all. Maybe Greymon if on a good day, but not much else after that. So those are the good points for this deck. Some of the things that I thought were tough were, like Magnamon X Antibody, the offense for this deck isn't super great. If you do want to like put on more pressure for offense, you have to rely on things with overflow, like there's an Ace Grandis Kawagamon, I think it was. Was it Ace Grandis Kawagamon? I forget the actual name of that card. What is it? Let me just go through the list here real quick. Yeah. Oh yeah, the Grand Kawagamon here, the Grand Kawagamon Ace. So he gives you security attack +1 to one of your Digimon, and then I've also seen some builds use a couple copies of the Lopmon from the Terriermon and Lopmon starter deck, and they use that and give the Tyrant Kabuteron Alliance, and then he just swings for like 21,000 or like 17 or 18,000 with 2 checks, and typically he's not going to die, so that's okay. But outside of that, it's not that easy to put on a ton of pressure. But really, outside of that, there's not much I can say that's difficult for this deck to do. The speed is great, the defense is amazing, the removal's pretty good, and it's so easy to use because you don't have to worry about a lot of the complexity of the game. As long as your bug is rested, pretty much no opponent's Digimon effects touch him. Or yeah, none of the Digimon effects touch him. Options are a different story. The one weakness that he has that Magnamon X doesn't have is that Magnamon X is not affected by anything. Tyrant Kabuteron isn't affected by Digimon effects only. Unga Bunga Bug Gang, absolutely. So, another deck with really strong defense. So, moving along, speaking of another deck with defense, is the Patamon Armadillomon deck. So, this one, offense really leaves a lot to be desired. I put 1 here. Defense is actually not bad, though. Shakomon is a great defensive card. Speed is also a little bit slow, and I think this is not due to the upper end of the cards, but I think it's due to the lower end of the cards. The level 3s, level 4s, I feel like they're missing something. It feels like they're missing like some keystone to really put the deck on the map. Removal's not bad. This deck does typically use like the Vikemon level 6, which is insane, and then Shakomon's removal is also not bad. It's pretty what's the word I want to use here? Novel. So it's hard to get around this kind of removal. And the last one is ease of use. It's not bad. It's pretty average, honestly. If you can play the red-yellow Hwomon Gatomon deck, then you can pretty much play the Shakomon deck as well. So what I thought was really, really fun about this deck, I didn't actually have a lot to say. Because, again, this might be personal bias, but I'm more of an offensive player, and Shakomon with a Patamon Armadillomon is a wholly defensive deck. So I didn't really vibe with it too much, but I will say that having Shakomon down once you DNA Digivolve into him, and then you have the threat of a Vicomon in your hand is always scary for your opponent. Basically, they have to like just hold out on that turn. They can't really mess with the Shakomon, and if they do make a move, Vicomon comes down and just ruins their board. So there's that. Some of the challenges that I had, there are lots of defensive effects. Everything from some blocker to having reboot, barrier, stopping your opponent from making attacks to the player directly. But generating offense was really, really difficult. There's like not much in the deck to really help you generate offense outside of something like, I think the level 4 Angemon helped you to unsuspend a level 4 or lower Digimon, and that's assuming that your level 4 lower Digimon could attack security and then live somehow. You could play the Angemon or Digivolve into the Angemon, and you could unsuspend it to make another attack. Outside of that, there's not really much here to put on a lot of pressure to like go through your opponent's security very quickly. The second thing is that outside of Upamon, so the Upamon for this deck that was introduced in this set, he has blocker, but outside of that, there's no other way to give blocker to any of your Digimon. So on the off chance that you have a Digimon on the board that didn't come from raising, it just won't have blocker. With the exception of the Angemon that I mentioned just a moment ago, who also has the ability blocker, but it's just him, and he's 4K, and he's not living. So, yeah, there's that. He also doesn't have blocker in Inheritance, so once you use that Angemon for fodder to DNA Digivolve, you lose blocker. I wish that there was like a Tamer or another like card that gave blocker and Inheritance. That'd be really nice for this deck, I think. Let's see. That's Patamon Armadillomon. The next one is Fer Lugon. Yeah, alright. So our first like super offense deck of the stream. 5 stars. I typically reserve this for what do you call it? Typically reserve this for decks that can OTK, and Fer Lugon can definitely OTK. So 5 stars on offense, 2 stars on defense. This deck does have a little bit of blocker, does have some ways to stop Digimon, but not many. They're pretty basic tools. Speed is not bad. Removal is fantastic. Again, if you've seen some of the newer Lugomon cards, the Hell Lugomon and Soul Lugomon cards that came out in BT16, as well as Fer Lugon, you know that this deck can remove some pretty nasty stuff on the board with very, very, very minimal effort. And ease of use, I would say, is a 2. I think a lot of folks, when Fer Lugon initially came out, had some trouble like getting all the steps down to actually like make the correct play. But now at this point, I think it's much easier. But we're kind of having to relearn the steps to like make the OTK happen, because there are a couple different things in play now. It's not as simple as like play your Black Tatomon, attack, alliance, and like basically you just win the game. It's because you're typically running a lot more red purple cards and more of the SOC stuff. It's a little bit stranger. So you see people have started adding in things like Denobimon. Denobimon's really good for this deck, but you have to know like the steps to get Denobimon set up to do everything right. So what's fun? OTK potential still alive and well. In a meta, I think is very heavy with in a deck a meta that's really heavy with like defensive decks. Fer Lugon is like the sword that pierces those shields. Aim down sight. What's up, man? I'm doing pretty good. Hope you are too, big dog. I'm jet lagged as hell and dual streaming. Hopefully my computer doesn't blow up. But yeah, we're going over the BT16. My initial impressions of the BT16 stuff after about like a week of like testing. Like I said before, Denobimon is actually really good. So, like you would set up previously, you would set up multiple Black Tatomons in the trash to get like multiple rushes, attacks, whenever they were played from Fer Lugon's effects. You can now get 2 level 4s down, swing with Fer Lugon, alliance with both of them to rest them, and then go into Denobimon with DNA, and then pull another Denobimon out of the trash. The first Denobimon will give the second Denobimon rush, and then it can attack. So there's some really cool stuff there. And of course, you've got the partition effect, which is even nastier. So yeah, Denobimon's changed up the game a little bit, but I think he makes the deck overall better. And yeah, like I mentioned before, this deck does have Alliance. Hey, Max, what's up, man? Very, very nasty stuff. Wait till BT16 drops over on your side. Trust me. Alliance is so... Alliance might be the best effect that was released last year. I said initially it was Raid, but after looking at Alliance, it's so flexible. Multiple attacks if you can unsuspend, allowing you to pump up your Digimon temporarily in order to get over like huge threats, something like Tyrant Kabuteron or a big Magnamon X antibody that is like 15k or plus. Alliance does the trick. Some of the things that I think were harder or sort of challenging about this deck were the... So Fer Lugon has that effect where you have to destroy something on your opponent's side of the board in order to unsuspend. And typically that was really easy. Not a lot of things had super crazy protection, but now that's not the case. A lot of things are getting protection against Digimon effects, and so it's harder and harder to activate that unsuspend effect because you have to destroy something if you can't destroy it. So, something to think about, and your opponent can definitely play around your Fer Lugon on turn by trying to leave something up that's not indestructible by effects, and it's going to really put a hamper on your game plan. So yeah, Fer Lugon, if you liked him before, you'll probably still like him. There's lots of good stuff that SOC's been getting, and the deck has definitely started to morph bit by bit as we get these new pieces from each set. It's funny that Terriermon completely dropped Alliance and Lugomon found it on the ground and made it better. It definitely feels that way, right? It's a shame too, because I had big hopes for the Alliance stuff when it initially dropped, but yeah, the green, yellow, green, purple stuff didn't really play out as well as I'd hoped it would. So moving on, Digi Police. They only got like 3 or 4 more new cards. They didn't get a lot this set. I will say, disclaimer, like right off the bat, my build that I tested with did not include the new Dark Dramon with the new Chaosmon. I cannot... How do I say this kindly? Again, just a build decision. My build decision. But I cannot justify removing copies of other like D-Brigade or Digi Police cards to make room for like the 1 or 2 copies each of a Bancho or Boss card, excuse me, and the Chaosmon. I feel like I have to cut either option cards, and I think that especially right now, DCD Bomb is a very good option card. 4 cost, can Digivolve, which is amazing against things that have partition, and it like really hampers things that are aces, because aces have lower play cost than normal, so it's easier to target those cards. And I just can't give that up for like a unlikely Chaosmon or unlikely like Bancho or Boss card. So again, my build did not include the new Dark Dramon and the new Chaosmon. So this is like a wholly like Digi Police / D-Brigade style card. So going over the stats really fast, offense was a 4. Again, this deck is pretty offensive. It always has been, probably always will be. Defense, not that great. I mean, once you get your Brigade Dramon up, then it's better, but outside of that, pretty meh. And a lot of your stuff is wipeable by lots of effects right now. So speed 3, pretty average. I could probably bump this up to a 4, but I just set it for a 3 here. Removal is really good. I say the removal is really good because of the comments other folks have just made, and that is that the new Tank Dramon for this set is amazing. On play, on evolve, look at top 3 cards for every D-Brigade or Digi Police card. You can reduce your opponent's Digimon's play cost by like 1 for each of those cards that you open up, and then you can destroy something that's 4 cost or lower. The cool thing is that cost reduction for all your opponent's Digimon lasts the entire turn. So if it's still your turn when you drop this Tank Dramon, something like a DCD Bomb is going to be able to hit stuff that costs 6. And if you reduce like a 9 cost Digimon to 6, then you can take it out with a DCD Bomb. even if you can't de-digivolve it. So this, plus the fact that like Brigademon also takes out a total of cost 7 Digimon on your opponent's side of the field whenever it's evolved into, makes this guy really useful in a lot of cases. Also, he has an insane effect. His inheritance is, whenever you would play a Digi Police or D-Brigade card, I think it is, you can de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. That's a both turns effect, and it doesn't have to be by effect, it's just if you just play a card. So if I were to just like play a Commandramon on my own turn, just hard play for 3, I can de-digivolve something 1. Insane effect. Insane. Yeah, like I said here in the second point, it's very, very disruptive. Some of the challenges is that right now, it's great that this deck can go wide. I think that's very important, and it's a way of, or style of play that's not seen a lot right now in this current environment. But the one weakness it does have is that things like Death Xmon, just eat it alive, as well as blanket DP reduction. So for example, you're thinking of things like Valkyremon Ace, which drops everything by 5k, the what is it? The Rapidmon X antibody, the new one, that if anything's rested, it just gets blanket minus 4k, as well as, of course, Shine Greymon Ruin mode. So, yeah. If you have a bunch of guys out and your opponent's playing purple, or they just happen to run Death Xmon, I mean, that might be your butt. Something to keep in mind when you're playing. The next one, Numon and Ukon Rush. This is a deck that got a little bit of popularity. I think a lot of folks were talking about it. Yeah, Fang Longmon as well, D Paladin, my bad. Talking about the Digi Police, that blanket DP reduction. Yeah, Fang Longmon does it too, yeah. Let's see. Like I was saying, so Numon, Ukon, at the end of the last like month or so, Ukon got pretty popular as a card that you can slot into aggressive decks and make them more aggressive. And there was this one, I think it was the DCD or DC1 Championship, one of the official Bandai tournaments held here in Japan, and a guy who was running Numon with Ukon before the BT16 set dropped actually won. And that kind of put some folks' eyes on the deck. And now that BT16 has dropped and they got even more Ukon support here, it's only made the deck better. So offense 3, probably put this at a 4, honestly. Maybe 3 is okay. Offense 3, defense almost non-existent. They do have some things like Armor Purge, but it's not super insane. You can Source Strip and then get rid of the card. Speed 5. This deck is so fast. It's I'll talk about it in a moment, but it feels like very momentum based. And once they get like those 2 turns that they need, it's really hard to stop this deck at all. And also, it's incredibly memory efficient, which like trying to choke it out kind of is hard. Removal, not so great. I will say the top end of this deck is actually pretty vile. You'll see things like Venusmon, Ruin mode in this deck as well. They might run a couple copies of Death Xmon. The upper end of this is absolutely disgusting. Ease of use 3. I mean, it's a pretty aggressive deck. If you can just kind of go fast, go hard, then things are okay. I think it gets a little bit more difficult once you have to go into the top end of the deck with level 6s or level 7s, because you don't run a lot of those cards, but you run a couple copies just for situations that might arise. And so knowing when to use those cards in those correct situations, I think, is the hard part of this deck. Alright, so some of the fun things. Like I said before, new Ukon gives resource and aggression. So the new Ukon here lets you, whenever Digimon is promoted from racing, you can search your deck for, search your top 3 cards for something. That's not like a one-time thing either. Every single time a card would come from racing, you get that effect if he's on the board. Additionally, he lets you hatch an egg as well. So yeah, he keeps Digimon on the board, he keeps Digimon rolling out. He also gives you more search, so you can find stuff that you might need. Like I said, it's super memory efficient with Tamers. Take for example the Platinum Numon up there, like just Digivolve and like gain 2 memory. Okay, like it basically becomes a one-cost Digivolve. And like I said before, it's a pretty momentum-heavy deck, so once they get started, it's kind of hard for you to stop unless you find like a Death Xmon or something that's like really useful. I will say some of the challenges playing the deck though were that it's very weak to wide board DP reduction, very similarly to the Digi Police deck that I just talked about. Like outside of like the Monzaimon and like this one Platinum Numemon, the dex is like DP is pretty low to the ground. So that's something to keep in mind. If your opponent runs something like Rapidmon X, you might want to keep those Digimon unsuspended. That way they don't die when they get rested. The other thing is like it's momentum based, so that's a double-edged sword. If you were to, you know, if you're going to get the momentum, if that momentum gets cleared, it's really hard to make a comeback after that. By that time, your opponent has caught up, and it's pretty much over. So yeah, keep that in mind, that like if your opponent stops all your momentum with something like a Death Xmon, or someone mentioned before, I think Crimson Blaze could be really bad, or a Rapidmon or Rapidmon X, it's gonna be kind of tough to claw your way back out from a deficit. Can they win before the wall decks drop their walls, or do they still win despite them doing so? When I played, it was mostly like before they could get set up, and the one hard part about that is it's more doable against Tyrant Kabuteron, but against the Magnamon deck, I think it's really tough. Magnamon X, because they can essentially skip the level 5, they can go straight from a level 4 to a level 6, they're a little bit faster than what you might normally be used to. So yeah, keep that in mind. Like Tyrant Kabuteron, because they go from a 3 to, they have to go 3, 4, 5, 6, not so bad, but you might have a harder time with Magnamon X because he is like the absolute wall. Heaven's Judgment doesn't work because Magnamon X is not affected by any effects. So yeah, not just Digimon, but any. So I will. That's been my experience though. If anyone else has another one, let me know. Yeah. You do miss the Shin Monzaimon builds. Monzaimon X is really good. As far as removal is concerned, like outside of the high-end stuff, I think he's pretty good removal. Basically, like dropping something for 2k for every Digimon you have on the board, and because his deck does go wide, it's gonna be like 8,000-10,000. Though we are unblockable though. Oh, you mean with like something like Cootie Kick? That's fine, I suppose. Huh. That's a great rulings question. If your opponent has a Digimon that's unblockable, can it be blocked by Magnamon X? I guess, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, Blast the Pancake. That's a great question. I don't actually know the answer to that. I need some judges out here. It can't. Sorry, in this case, what is it, Chris? You gotta tell me what it is. Is it, the Cootie kicked up Digimon, or is it Magnamon? It's affecting the attack? I don't know about that. It cannot block? Okay, I'll take your word for it for now. That's just... I wonder what the wording on Cootie Kick is. Does Cootie Kick say this Digimon gains the effect can't be blocked? I don't know, I wonder. You can block unaffected Digimon in the same fashion. Ah. Therefore, so Magnamon X can't block because Magnamon X's effect isn't affecting the opponent's attack. Ah, okay, that kind of makes sense. All right. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, Shady over on Twitch. Last fire plus any lingering DP reductions get rid of new Magnamon if you didn't check security on your turn. Keep in mind the Magnamon's effect rolls over until the end of the opponent's turn, so you would have to stop them from attacking or reducing their own security using something like Blinding Ray to pop the security off the top to get the effect. So, he's got more than one way to skin a cat. But let's see. We were talking about Numon and Ukon. Thanks for the info, though, folks. I appreciate that. But yeah, I feel like, to, I guess, sum up there, it feels like it's really tough to stop Magnamon next because they can skip a level 5 and just go straight into the level 6. So once he's up, I think it's a little bit harder for Numon and Ukon to seal the deal. Although, I mean, you do have the option of going super wide, so maybe if you have the foresight to just start going crazy wide, just like hard playing Digimon while going in on Ukon and raising, maybe you give yourself a better chance to win, but yeah. Very, very powerful stuff. Alright, so next up is the new Nightclaw Light Fang stuff. They only got 2 cards, which you see here. The first one being the Agumon, who's like a searcher, and he gives your opponent security minus 3k. Which you might be thinking, oh, that's cool, you know, when I attack now, I have a higher chance of living, thanks to this Agumon, but you don't really need that effect if you just have the Galgamon, who's like, both players draw a card, and then if your opponent has 8 cards in hand, you gain a memory on Evolve, but also his inheritance effect is just jamming. All those Galgamon players who were mad that they took away Bukomon, here, this is for you. That's your guy right there. That's your man's. Please enjoy. But Nightclaw Light Fang, so offense 4. I think it's pretty. Once it gets to level 6s, I think it's a very, very strong deck because you can just loop multiple attacks and unrests. Defense leaves a little bit to be desired since you're really operating off of like 1 stack. Speed, pretty quick. There's something really nice about the inheritance effects of the level 3s and level 2s that allow you to like take cards off the top, put them on the bottom, and gain memory or reduce cost of Digimon you would Digivolve into. So that's really good. Removal is so-so. What is it? There's like the level 5 red one that lets you pop a 5k or lower, and then like the level 6 red guy lets you destroy anything that's has less DP than him if you check a security. And then the ease of use is so-so. I think like learning like when to do what is the hard part of this deck. Like knowing what cards to use at what level, and then like how to plan a turn out so that you get to the place you need to be at the end of the turn, and also keeping your stack alive. I think that's the hardest part. So some of the things that I thought were pretty fun playing this deck is that Galgamon jamming and Agumon search are really just what the deck needs. Before they had the 2 search cards in level 3s, with Agumon here, like it's much easier to go through the deck and find the cards you need. So you're not really running like these weird things. I guess you could run something like a searcher, like the white searcher card that we had before. But yeah, Agumon I feel like fills that role way better. Hey Bonky Kong, what's up, man? I'm building this, my man. Some of the other things that I thought were cool. I don't know. I thought about this before this deck came out. I thought it would be a cool idea if you could like take Digimon from the top of the stack and put them on the bottom, or like vice versa. And it's cool that that's an actual style of deck in this case. So I think that's just really fun. And like going up and down that stack it's pretty cool. I don't know. It feels good when you're like playing this deck. Some of the things that I think were tough is that because you typically operate off of 1 stack, if you lose that stack, like you've most likely lost the game. So keep that in mind. You were operating on a very, very fine line, like a razor thin margin. And unfortunately, this deck doesn't have too great of like ways to keep your Digimon around, so you have to be really careful. Your racing area is a very, very, very safe place. Let me see. So that's pretty much Nightclaw Light Fang. Yeah, only 2 cards, but I think they were the exact 2 cards that that this deck needed. High risk, high reward. I suppose so. I mean, you can mitigate some of that risk, right? Like maybe just holding off for a turn or 2. Finding a tamer early on is also really good. Because that way you can set your memory to 3. And if you have 3 memory with this deck, you can do a lot of stuff in a turn. How often do you go into Grace Nova on your opponent's turn? I always found that Grace Nova is never like okay, I'm going to use Grace Nova and win the game. It's more like, shit's about to hit the fan. I can see it in the distance. Grace Nova up. The problem is, like, you lose that Digimon. Oh, wait, no, it becomes Grace Nova. Never mind, you're fine. But yeah, like, anytime you were to see something coming on the horizon, like, you're like, alright, it's time to Grace Nova up. And hope for the best. But yeah, because normally you can just like go into your level 6s, the blue and the red, and you can alternate attacks like with Security Attack Plus and Unrest and win that way. So that's Nightclaw Life Fang. Hope you guys enjoy this deck once it drops over in the West, because it's a pretty cool deck. I don't think you guys are gonna have the. You guys won't have the Agumon and the Galgamon just yet, but like just playing with the deck feels really nice. Let's see what else. Rapidmon armor. So we talked about Magnamon armor before, but Rapidmon is like the other side of like the BT16 coin. So offense 4, really good offense from this deck. Defense, meh, not so great. There's actually not a lot of blockers in this deck. I don't think there are actually any, are there? Maybe outside of the Rapidmon? Yeah, I don't think. Hold on a second. Yeah, okay, I'm not tripping. There's not a lot of blockers in this deck outside like the Rapidmon, so your big boy here is just gonna have Armor Purge, which is kind of scary. Speed is pretty quick. Like the Magnamon X deck, it can skip the level 5s for the most part. Like, level 5s are pretty optional. There are some in this deck, but you don't have to use them if you don't need them. As a result, that frees up space for other really good cards. Removal is pretty good. Outside of having just, like, really... Instead of having just really big removal, it has, like, that wide removal we talked about before. Things like a blanket removal, where something similar to Shine-Greymon Ruin Mode or a Valkyremon Ace, something like that. With a bit more strings attached. We'll talk about it in a sec, though. And easy use is, I think it's a pretty easy deck to run. So what's fun about this deck? The double Armor Purge Rapidmon plus Gargamon Ace, it really feels like you always have an out somewhere. Because, like, even if they destroy this Rapidmon here, unless it's through DP reduction, or, like, sent back to the hand, I suppose, whenever it would just be destroyed, you just go into the level 4, and you can go right back into the level 6 the following turn. So... And it's only 4 costs, whereas the Magnamon X is 5. This is only a 4 cost to skip your level 5. What's also nice is that this deck got the new Terriermon X, who can reduce the cost of your Rapidmon Digivolves. Also, he gives you Piercing. So, I feel like he's like the one card that the deck really needed to be really, really busted. And they just said, here you go. You can have it. And then finally, like I said before, you can choose to skip a level 5 in this deck. There are level 5 Rapidmons, like the green-black one, which does have a really useful effect of not being able to be destroyed by effects, I think it was, and he has De-Digivolve, which is nice. And so if you find yourself, really having trouble with some big Digimon that can be Digivolve, then maybe keeping like 2 or 3 copies of that guy in the deck are pretty useful. But yeah, you can go from a level 4 to level 6 in this deck for virtually no penalty. So there's almost no reason to go into it. What is your take on using Double Typhoon in this deck? Yes. Yes. Yeah. 3 to 4 copies minimum. It's been a... Double Typhoon is a great card to just search out stuff and then get free. Like, this deck also can run a couple copies of Lopmon. And in that case, you can use the Rapidmon X with a Lopmon to gain Alliance. And because you have the Terriermon X antibody in your sources, you also have Piercing. So you can pierce something and just check 2. Yeah. So, all the more reason to run a couple copies of Double Typhoon. Trust. So some of the challenges with this deck were so lots of great effects. Rapidmon X on Evolve, you rest everything on your opponent's side of the board, and then everything that's rested gets minus 4k, and then he can attack. So that means even if it goes over your opponent's side of the turn, he can still attack. Which is, I guess, I don't know why they just didn't give him Blitz. That's so weird they didn't write Blitz, but it is what it is. So yeah, everything minus blanket 4k, and he can attack. But that means if they're over 15,000, it's going to be tough for you. So there are a couple of cards that give you plus 1,000 DP and Inheritance. One of those is, I think, the Rapidmon from the starter deck. I think there's also a Terriermon that gives you plus 1,000. Could be tripping there. But I think there's a Terriermon that does the same thing. So yeah, you're gonna need to have these cards in your sources in order to make that to get over that 15k or sorry that 16k wall or more. And when you look at something like Tyrant Kabuteron, I don't have an answer for you. It's 20,000 DP against Rapidmon X is like, ugh. Hope you have a Heaven's Judgment is basically my answer in that case. So, yeah, anything over 15k can be a little bit problematic. Breezy XD, thanks. Yeah, so Tyrion and Lopmon both give 1,000 when suspended. So you would, when you would make the attack, you just get this plus 2,000 from both of those. Yeah, Tyrants are kind of problematic. Again, anything over 15k. Sometimes when your opponent's turn, if you're running like a Black War Greymon deck, it could be problematic. But I mean, to be fair, you just eat aggression, like wide decks alive with this guy. So that's the trade-off, right? Again, Rapidmon very strong. Again, like if Magnamon is the poster boy, Rapidmon's the other side of the coin. He's right up there with him. Last, I think this is the last one, but this is a deck that I'm actually the most interested in right now, and it's Goron. I didn't think much of the deck until I played it a little bit. You'll see across the board here pretty average stats. I tried my best not to be biased here. I think this deck is really interesting, but I tried to grade it fairly, so to speak. Offense is like pretty much all of its stats are pretty basic. I don't feel like it. How to say this? I feel like decks that are, you know, the Rapidmon armors or you know, Fer Lugon's or Tyrant Kabuteron's or Magnamon armors, they have some way to quote-unquote cheat. You know, in the case of like skipping level 5s, becoming untouchable, and like 20,000 DP, could kill you in a turn. When you look at something like Goron, it doesn't have some like insane effect, but it does have some really cool effects that you can bring together to make a pretty interesting deck. The first one being the new Kosuke card, he gives you piercing and blocker. But most of the new Dorumon stuff for this Dorumon line has collision. Outside of level 3, I suppose. Level 4, level 5, and level 6 all have collision, which, for folks who aren't aware, collision is the new keyword effect in this set, where when you attack, all of your opponent's Digimon like magically just gain blocker, and they must block the attack with something. So they have to block. And because he's got piercing from the Kosuke Tamer, he's always going to hit. And the cool thing is, a lot of the Dorumon stuff gives you plus 1,000. But on the case that you would die, this deck breathes life back into Dex Dorogoromon, where when Dex Dorogoromon dies, if you have 5 cards with Dex or Death X in their name in your trash, you can just hard play Death Xmon from the trash. So it gives you this big scary Digimon who has, like, you know, Alliance and not Alliance, but yeah, it is Alliance. Excuse me, I'm tripping. Kosuke gives Alliance and blocker. My bad. Whoa. I think I've misquoted or misspoke before, but yeah, Alliance plus piercing plus if I die, a Death Xmon comes out. It's kind of scary. So it's nice to see some use out of the old Dex Dorogoromon. And he's also removal. I didn't realize that. He has like destroy all of the lowest cost or lowest level Digimon on your opponent's side of the board, or DPs, one of the 3. Lowest something. So again, not anything super crazy, but I think the effects come together in this deck that make it really interesting. And yeah, like imagine killing your opponent's boss Digimon only for a Death X to just drop because of that. Oh yeah, sorry, I wasn't done here, my bad. Some of the challenges though, it's kind of difficult to get to the threshold. Having 5 cards with Dex or Death X in your trash is not that easy. There actually aren't a lot of cards in the game that have that in their name right now. So there's Dex. It's like the level 4 and 5 that I forget the name. Level 4s and level 5s that Alphamon used to use to go into the same level. It was like the Dex Dorgamon and Dex Dorugreymon, I think it was? Yeah. So there's those 2, plus Dex Dorugamon. I only run 2 copies of that. And then there's another card called Dex Revolution, or Death X Revolution. It's a purple option. That card counts toward the limit. Lets you Digivolve from trash for free, or not for free, but for 0 costs. The option card is 0 cost, but you pay the cost of the evolve, but you can Digivolve from trash. And Deathexmon. So those are like the only 4 cards in the game right now that have that keyword. So yeah, it's kind of hard to set up. The second challenge for this deck is removal only really exists on the top end. The bottom end has like floodgate removal in the form of the SOC Lugamon. That thing came out in BT 15. Or was it EX5? It was one of the two. It's the purple-red one that dropped after the original one came out. And again, that's only like 3,000 and lower DP. But outside of that, level 4s and level 5s, not really. Level 4s have blocker, level 5s can get you level 6s very quickly, but the level 6s are what have the removal. So if you're behind, you kind of have to hope for the new... well, hold on. I say that, but if you're behind and your opponent has a wide board, drop your Dexmon or your Deathexmon. But if they don't have a ton of Digimon on the board, you have to kind of struggle to come back and build the stack up in order to get like removal out. So something to think about. Again, this deck feels very fair. It doesn't do anything that I think cheats. So I want to talk right now about thinking about the entire set as a whole. If I take all the decks out there and all the games I played. Hey, Mike, what's up, man? Hope you're doing good. Hope you had a good holiday. So I'm talking about the entire meta as a whole. Like, all the decks together, all the things. It really feels like... I actually like... Early impressions, I like the way everything is shaping up. It feels like there's a lot of cards with really cool effects, but at the end of the day, DP is the most important thing in the game. Like, DP is the most important number in the game. And it's very like a might makes right sort of meta where you've got things that are either big and powerful, but aren't super offensive. So Tyrant Kabuteron and Magnamon armor, or they're really offensive, but they're not very strong. So like the ankle biters in things like Digi Police and Numon. And then you've got like the super strong decks that don't have really good defense. So Imperial Dramon being able to unsuspend and attack again with jamming multiple times, and things like Fer Lugon who can abuse Alliance, as well as the new Denobimon to get tons of checks and clear the game pretty quickly. But again, their defense is so-so. Because of that, like this nice, I don't know, it's like the 3 major styles of play right now. It feels very balanced. Like the armor stuff, it can typically how do I say this? The armor stuff beats the fast and wide stuff. The fast and wide stuff beats the OTKs. The OTKs beat the armor stuff. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. But the cool thing is, and I feel like people are going to groan and roll their eyes when they hear this, because the defensive cards are so strong, they're so powerful right now, again, the most important thing right now is the number on your DP. And because of that, Greymon might actually find a nice little like spot in the game again. Where in the past couple sets, Greymon really hasn't been a big thing. I played it throughout those sets, and I will admit that most of those were Anubis and Apocalypse, which were dumpster fires. But outside of that, decks like Fer Lugon still do a pretty good job against Greymon. But now that we have like 20,000 DP, 15,000 DP that are unkillable by effects, but you can punch through them, I think Greymon has a really nice little niche that he can fill. We back to caveman ages, Unga Bunga swing. I don't know. I feel like there are merits to both the red and black Greymon again as well. So red gets really big, gets punches for like 4 security. Black being able to is cool because of the way the effects line up, right? So Magnamon armor keeps his invulnerability until the end of your turn, but Greymon, Blackboard Greymon X antibody unsuspends on the reboot, and he can pop something on your opponent's turn. So he like just slots into the right spot to pop a Magnamon armor or Magnamon X antibody. So that's really cool. I like the way the interaction works. So yeah, Greymon Gaming, Greymon card game. We're back, baby. Red Hybrid, yeah, Red Hybrid does the same thing, right? The only issue with Red Hybrid is that there are cases where you may not get that destruction effect. You'll become like a 21,000 Kaiser Greymon, but you can't actually destroy the opponent's Digimon. You have to run into them. Which means we can all expect people to start teching in that little Flamemon that gives you piercing. Arenas Evade. Oh, you're talking about Deepality. You're talking about Black Orc Greymon X antibody? Yeah. I'm sorry. But yeah, Greymon might find a spot out here just by virtue of the way the actual other decks in the meta shape up. That'll be cool. And that's my TED Talk. Thanks for coming. Yeah, that's it. I'm very happy I was able to finish this up. Again, I thought that this would be a really good video, but I figured, I haven't streamed this year, and I told myself that I wanted to stream more, bit by bit, so this is one way to do that. Also, I can't fall asleep, so works out perfectly, I suppose. That being said, any questions? I'll take questions and comments now. Anybody in the audience have a question? Please raise your hand, and we'll get someone to give you the microphone. My last question. Modest Sam, my good man, do me a favor and repeat the question, just because I may have missed it. But what about Gamamon enjoyers? Are we still in the race? That's a great question. So I'm just spitballing here. Shady Water. I'm just spitballing. Proximamon looking not so great right now. You think Renamon will have X antibody line soon? Hold on, I'm missing questions here. Hold on. I gotta pull up the stuff. Let me see if I can find a. Alright, here we go. Still trying to find a decent ace for. What about Mirage? Mirage got Galgamon with jamming. You guys are okay. Nobody can complain about Bukamon anymore. You're not allowed to complain about Bukamon. Bukamon, you cannot complain anymore. You have jamming in the form of your Galgamon. Your level 4 gives you jamming for free. For free. Modest Sam, that should answer your question. Please enjoy the new Nightclaw Galgamon. Let's see, which one? What are the ones that I missed? Opinions regarding the use of BTH Hwomon and Mega Kabuteron on the bug deck. I've been trying out Rhino Kabuteron. It seems better than Mega. Rhino Kabuteron is definitely the move because you can Digivolve for 3. And because Tyrant Kabuteron is 6 cost Digivolve otherwise, yeah, Rhino Kabuteron is definitely the move. Hwomon and yeah, I didn't really mess with Hwomon. Mega Kabuteron, I think I ran like 2 copies of. But Tyrant Kabuteron is definitely the king. Definitely the guy. If you talked about yellow, red, hot Gato stuff, how is it? Brando, really quickly. Let me go over this super fast. That was actually the first thing I talked about, so you might have missed it. The Salamon Gatomon cards, they're yellow cards. Or sorry, Salamon Terriermon in English, my bad. Are really good because they help you recycle stuff, even if your stuff gets destroyed. Aquilamon, the level 4 red-green, is really good for jamming because it forces your opponent to do something on your board, and that way you can go into your Sylphimon and Valkyrymon. And then Sylphimon, really good removal, 7,000 until the end of your opponent's turn, and you can then combo that with Valkyrymon. I think I misspoke here. This should be not 15k. I think it's 12k. 7 and 5 is 12. Yeah. Whoops. So the Valkyremon gives a blanket minus 5k, and then the Sylphimon gives minus 7k. So if they have like a level 6 on board, which is typically around 12k, they just die if you go into your ace card. Some of the things that are a little bit tough about the deck is that the second Tamer slot is hard to decide. Sorry, let me pop this open. Yeah, the second Tamer slot is hard to decide just because, yeah, like there's nothing that really slots in very well. The Yole or Yule, I'm not really sure how to say it, and Kari Tamer are great, but outside of that, I'm not really sure which other one to run. And then Valkyremon is great that it gives you Sec +1, so great offense, but because it has Overflow, it can be risky to play that card on your own turn to get a Sec +1. So there's sometimes where even though you can get the Valkyremon out to attack, you don't want your opponent to target that and get the Overflow memory back, so you just hold on to it just in case. And that's Hwomon Gatomon. Yeah. Now how do I exit this thing? There we go. Whoop, that's the wrong one. Let me see. I'm just going down the questions here. Have you come across any fun Terrier, Lophmon, Cherubimon Alliance builds recently, Breezy XZ? I have not. I'm sure they exist. There is a really cool, I'll say the most recent one I came across was, Cherubimon. No, never mind. I came across, I talked about it a little while back, but I came across a Mother D Reaper plus Alliance deck where they use the Alliance from things like the Totemon, the green-yellow, or like the other level 4 Alliance cards to use Mother D Reaper to rest as it gained 15,000 DP and swing with like that, so you get like a 19,000 2 checks. But outside of that, the Cherubimon stuff I haven't messed with at all. Thoughts on Machine Dramon and Leviamon in BT16? Leviamon, I honestly have no idea. I think Leviamon could be problematic for some decks, but the decks that have protection, like Magnamon Armor or Magnamon X, might not really affect him at all. You might do, if you can get the option cards out from Leviamon, you can probably pop a Tyrant Kabuteron, but that's gonna be a really expensive hit. So. But I haven't played any Leviamon, so I'm sorry, I don't really know. But that's just me spitballing some ideas. But I can almost guarantee you Leviamon is going to be used next set. EX6 is what? Like his set? New to the game, and I fell in love with the Digi Police D-Brigade archetype. How do you feel about the Ryudomon Digi Police cards? Is it its own separate deck? Mike Whitlow. I think there are some card... Honestly... Part of me, how do I say this? My heart says I want to include them both, but my head's like, don't do that. Like, the D-Brigade cards are already so good. The D-Brigade cards are super offensive. They work really well together. They gel really well together. It's probably not worth going in and just sliding in the Dragon Ryudomon stuff in. If you're going to do that, my guess, or my thought is maybe just the upper end, where you can run like a couple copies of Brigade Dramon, and then a couple copies of, the Oriumon, maybe, but then you have to run the Tamers, and it's tough. Does Oriumon call a named Tamer? Does it have to be? Let me see. I forget if they just say an Essos or Digi Police Tamer, or if you need the specific one. Oriumon. Where are you? Yeah, if a Tamer card with Digi Police is in this tray, so it doesn't have to be the name one. So you can use the Satsuki Tamer if you wanted to, but maybe like so just the top end. That's my feeling, but I probably wouldn't mix them that much. Let's see here. Any guesses on what Diaboromon's win condition in BT7 will be? That's a tough one, man. A lot of folks have thought about it, and some say it's like there's probably gonna be like some like clock-based effect, because I think that's how it worked in the actual in the movie. But honestly, I have no idea. I hope it's novel. I hope it's just not like get a bunch of Diaboromon out and then win the game. I hope it's not that, but we'll have to see. We'll see. And I hope it's also not too easy to proc. It has to be challenging to get to. Otherwise, everyone's just gonna run it because there's no way to counterplay. If it's just a different win condition, then like taking out security, there's no other way to win. There's no way to stop it, I suppose. We might have another Apocalypse on our hands, and nobody wants that. It's got to be challenging. That's my only hope. Let's see. Thoughts on green hybrid low in for Tyrant? I like the green hybrid level 5, the Rhino Kabuteron, but I haven't experimented with anything else. I think that the new stuff is really good because they all have similar effects where they either A, buff DP, which you always want to have because that's kind of how the deck stays insurmountable, as well as unaffected by effects, Digimon effects when they're rested. Those two things are really good, and it's really hard to pass those up. But if you can find a hybrid build that works, yeah, slide on my way, man. I'd be interested to see. I'd like green hybrid a lot, and actually my friend Obama played that deck a ton back in its heyday. Hoping for anything in the new EX set. I'm pretty sure I'm in the minority here, but I have no attachment to any of the Demon Lords. They're cool. I like the idea. I just have no attachment to them. I kind of hope that we get some more support from Magnamon. Angels, Devils seems like the move. I want to see more support from Magnamon. It's been a long time since Magnamon has seen any sort of like really good, like direct buff. Like a new Magnamon card would be awesome. But yeah, I think that's my hope. Masty Ace confirmed? Don't say that. I wish. BT4 Rise Greymon in Sylphimon. Is it consensual? Let me see. Is the Dodogodomon deck so fair that it can't be meta? I don't know. Again, this is week 1. And I can say this, that the good decks will only get better as time goes on, but we'll see. Who knows? I think that the Dex Dodogodomon being able to proc a Dexmon or Death Xmon is actually a pretty strong effect. I just have to find a way that I can consistently get over the big walls. I think that's the one thing that stops me. Once I find out how to do that, I think I'm in a much better place. The good thing is I think it's not impossible because Dex Dodogodomon's lower levels all have like the inheritance of plus 1000 DP. And that's kind of what a lot of the other Dodomon and past Dorugomon cards have as an inheritance effect, so I might be able to use those guys as ways to get over those really big Digimon. 20,000 DP Kabuteron though, no chance. I'm not getting there. They will be contemplated Diaboromon. Facts though, yeah, good point. Yeah. BT1 Omnimon bringing us full circle. Belphemon gets support, possibly? Here's the thing, Belphemon's not bad. Even now, Belphemon's not bad. He's got OG can't be destroyed by effects, or affected by effects, which is really strong. The problem is that now there are things that can just get over that. And raid exists, so. And just Endor says, I hope Devimon gets his just support. We're due now for a done Devimon. That's true. We haven't got a done Devimon in a minute. And yeah, thinking about it, we did get a little bit of Devimon support in the past, like couple sets. They got the 7 cost Devimon that what is it, on play, I think drop 3 cards and then he gains 1,000 for every X amount of cards in your trash, something like that. kind of support, right? Have you seen how the Pulsemon deck is doing? That's the one, Omar, that's the one deck that I haven't built. That's the one deck I haven't had time to like put together. Something tells me it's not amazing, but I will say there is something really cool about hitting that sweet spot of 3 security and just like getting double the effects for everything. And I will say Shroudmon seems very useful. My guess, my prediction, is that because the next set is supposed to wrap up all of the Digimon Seeker stuff, we might see the Pulsemon stuff get like one more bit of support, and that might be enough to push it over the edge. We'll see though. Do you think Digi Police, Digi Brigade are missing any more pieces? Being greedy, I would say yes, and that is give me a cheap way to play a Bancho Leomon or something. Any Bancho card. Give me a cheap way to play a Bancho card. That is also Digi Police. Then I might consider putting in the Chaosmon. Dukemon support win though. Interesting enough, people are actually playing Dukemon right now. Dukemon, so Apocalypmon no longer exists, right? That deck is gone. But you can still mill people out with Dukemon pretty damn well. So, there's that. Belf got 2nd place Finals Latin America. Yeah, Belf is a good deck. It's not bad. What do you think will be the next meta after Big Numbers Unga Bunga? Ooh, I wish I was smart enough to know the answer to that question. All I'll say is this: I just hope it's fun. That's it. That's all I hope for. I think the way this one is shaping up, we had to suffer through and endure. Hashtag endure. Apocalypmon and Anubismon for this. And honestly, no, it wasn't worth the wait. We could have done without both those cards, and all the Garurumon stuff. But yeah, I'm glad that this seems so much better than the past like month. Also, Gallimon milling rating it gets over the wall that is Magnamon X. It gets over all those wall decks because I don't care how big you are if your deck is at 0. Big wall, small deck. What are you compensating for? Are you pumped for the Legends Arm support? Sorry, what, Brando? Is Legend Arms coming out in the X6? Magnamon X kills faster than Gallimon mills, though. Does it? I guess Gallimon doesn't really have any blockers, which could be problematic. But I think that deck can kind of schmooze. Mike Whitlow asks, Black War Greymon viable? It's just my guess, but I talked about it. But actually, I think that Black War or the Greymon deck fills a really interesting niche right now. Where here we go. Talked about it at the end of my TED Talk, where you have these really, really strong decks that are unaffected by effects, and they're like 15,000 plus Digimon. They really wall a lot of the other stuff that's out there right now. However, Greymon is actually Greymon with Raid. My 21,000 Greymon punching a Tyrant Kabuteron or a Magnamon X antibody is a solution. So I think Greymon might see a really nice little niche as far as fighting against these guys right here. I also mentioned Black War Greymon X antibody pops Magnamon X antibody as well. So just the way the effects play out is nice. New Legend Arms NEX6 to coincide with Is this true? Is that confirmed? Was that... Hold on. Have you seen any of this spoiler? Yeah, I've been watching them on Twitter. When did they come out? Did I miss one? Oh, that's the English, not Japanese. Okay. Oh shoot, I did miss them. Holy crap, you guys are right. Zudamon or Zubamon, excuse me. Evolve from Sakuto or Kakinmon for 0. From your hand, main effect, by paying 1 cost, you can put this card under... Put this under one of your level 3 Legend Arms cards. And then by doing that, you get plus 4,000 DP for the turn. Okay. The other one is on your turn, once per turn. Sorry, I'm reading, my bad. If this card's sources increases, draw a card, and then your turn gain plus 2,000. So actually, it's plus 6k. That's kind of cool, but it's got to be from level 3. How do you wrap your head around that one? I'm guessing the other guy, Rudamon has 1,000. So like my 7,000 DP level 3. I don't know. Ludamon does same thing. Let's see. By paying 1 cost. Oh yeah, it is same thing. Huh. Oh. Oh, it's 1. Wait, what? It's more expensive though. Oh no, they're both 4. Okay, I thought it was 3 for some reason. This is your man's? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the new stuff will be heat. Considering these are uncommons, they gotta be decent. Did they release any more? It's just that? Oh man. I mean, I like Ragnalord. Little bit of trivia. Ragnalord was like one of the first decks I made when I played the game. One of the decks that I built by myself. Just because I think I built it just because it's kind of easy to build, you know what I mean? Like the cards are like Legend Arm type. It's like 2 sets and they kind of just like become like one to do a thing. So it's like, oh, yeah, this kind of makes sense. Build to big boss and then hit with big boss. There's something that's really nice about when you're just jumping into a game, being able to play with a deck that is like really easy to build and like understand. Had it not been for that, I don't know how long I would have played. Do you feel like Garurumon can make a comeback after their hit? Garurumon's got to work for it now. That's what it is. You can't just like turn brain off, go for security, doesn't care because you've got the most sources, so jamming just always activates, and then even if your opponent does attack you, you can just send any 2 cards back to the bottom of the deck to stay alive. That doesn't really happen anymore, so it's not impossible. I think if you run back with the blue package and you buff your Gabumon up with the old blue Gabumon cards to give you plus DP, it's possible. And there are definitely cases where, you know, if the stars align, you can kill somebody in like 2 turns. But yeah, it's gonna be less common than what it was before. Oh, level 3 or Legend Arms? I'm sorry, did I read that wrong? Oh, you're right. It says Ka, my bad. It is, yeah. 特中に Legend Arms の持つか level 3. Okay, so yeah. Legend Arms type or level 3 Digimon. Okay, that's not so bad. So, I'm kind of okay with that. Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense for an uncommon card. Because now you can slot up on your level 5 or your level 6 or your Ragnalord and do some pretty nasty stuff. Time to go back to my roots, is it? I keep all my I kept all my Ragnarlord stuff, so I still have everything. So we'll see. We'll see. Let me see. Are there any other? I agree. I think that's why Digimon is still so popular, so beginner friendly, especially compared to other TCGs. Yeah, one of the things that I want to do. Who was that? Who said that? Yeah, Brando. One of the things I want to do is I want to get in the habit of whenever a new set comes out, I want to make a video that says, hey, if you're just getting to Digimon and you want like something really easy to make, I recommend this, this, or this. Where it's almost like, you know, Pokemon, where it's like, all right, you just got it. It's like your Digimon adventure, your Pokemon adventure is just about to begin. Here are these 3 starters. You should just pick one, and then you can just like go out into the world and then, you know, use other decks afterward. But I want to get in the habit of doing that. I think that's really useful for folks just hopping into the game. I want to I don't know if I'm gonna do it by how to split the decks up though is kind of tough. Whether it should be like just cheap decks or decks that are easy to use, or decks that can be made using only this or mostly this set. I'm still kind of torn between how I want those things to play out. Maybe one of each is actually the answer. I don't know. That might be it. But yeah, I think that's again, people just hop because it was crazy actually. Even when I was in New York, when I was just about to leave the locals there, I looked over at one of the tables and they were talking about one of the guys like, man, that match is going really long, and the fellow across from was like, actually, it's because the guy that new guy that he's playing against is like just learning the game. So I went over there and it's like it was actually him. There was one guy who I guess was part of like the friend circle that was kind of established there, and then one new guy, and then I think he brought 2 friends, and so they all bought starter decks. There's like a girl who bought the purple Gabumon starter deck. There was a guy who bought the black Greymon starter deck, and then the fellow who was playing and getting taught, he bought the Imperial Dramon starter deck, and they were all just playing. And he was like, yeah, it took a little while to get my head around everything, but it's like, yeah, pretty much makes sense. I was really happy to see like new people still hopping into the game. Which place did I go to? I went to a place called Silk Road Gaming in Chinatown, or close to Chinatown. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. I posted up pictures on YouTube as well as my Twitter of some of the people that I met. I took a picture with all the guys out there. They were really kind. It's in Chinatown? Facts. I was kind of surprised. That place doesn't have a Twitter account. Solid spot. Yeah, it was really nice. My only gripe is that if I didn't know that place was a card shop, I would not walk in there. I had no idea. Like, it's in the back of a cafe. But yeah, everybody there was super kind. Really nice. That's your place, Red Dawn. Let's go. How's the game doing in Japan? Is the scene growing? I need to check the numbers now, but the past month or so was like numbers were down, but I think that's because it was the end of the year. And typically during the end of the year in Japan, how to put this? In the West, in the West, Christmas is the time that you spend with your family, and New Year's is kind of like the party, like a party holiday, where you get together with your friends, and you guys like have a party, and you know, drink, be merry, whatever. In Japan, it's kind of the opposite, where Christmas is not so big of a holiday, but it's mostly for couples. It's like a romantic holiday. It's kind of like Valentine's Day V2. And New Year's, So I'm kind of equating that to like a party style, but it's not apples to apples comparison. But on the other hand, New Year's is like a family holiday. New Year's in Japan is actually very quiet. There, like, lots of places are just closed except temples on New Year's Day. And like, if you don't buy food for like the first 3 days of New Year's, hope you can fucking forage. I don't know, like that. But yeah, like I was saying, if you can't find food on New Year's, like, everything else is closed. So I don't know what to tell you. But it's really quiet. Folks like typically go home to their hometown the couple days beforehand. So the end of the year is like super quiet. So numbers were lacking then. But I took a look at some of the events last week. I think there were like 70-some events after I did a really quick count. So numbers are back up, and this is because, you know, new set. Also, all the nasty stuff is just like completely eradicated. My man Glow, what's up, big dog? Thanks for the raid. Hope you had a good New Year and a good holiday. Also, let me know how you did in Rage. BT dubs. So yeah, I think numbers are up. But yeah, whenever we have CS events, typically more and more folks are entering, so that's good to hear. 2-2, not bad. Lost to top deck. I think everybody here knows how that feels. The top deck river rat lose to that. Nobody likes that feeling, but that's card games, big dog. You know what you signed up for. Let me see. I think videos that break down decks like you did start stream are really helpful for players entering the game. When learning a new fighting game, I usually look up equivalent videos. Yeah, like kind of understanding what each of the characters does. So that's a good point too. Actually, this video will likely be chopped up and put into, or this stream will likely be chopped up and put into a video. So yeah, everyone who missed it will probably see it. Yeah, I will say that it feels like over the past. Maybe it's just this set. I don't know. Maybe it's just this set. So there were a couple of cards in the game that are like pretty expensive. One of those being Rena, and I still can't figure out if it's just because it's a girl artwork or if it's because the deck was thought to be super strong. Rena's still dumb expensive, but recently the past couple sets, some of the secret rares are pretty pricey. I picked up my Magnamons for about 5,000 each. The good part is that I sold my alt art Magnamon and I made like, I don't know how much I made, but I basically made enough to buy like a Magnamon and a half. I bought Magnamons at 5,400 yen, which is probably like the equivalent of like 30 USD. And I bought my Rapidmons for 45-ish. I think it was like 45 and the last one was at 48. And like the really good SRs are becoming a bit more expensive. I can say that. Everything else is like dirt cheap though. Sec waifu? Alright, fair enough. You make a very valid point. Basic on the Rising grind now. Let's go. Who are you running, Glow? I played, I didn't play too much of the game, but I played a little bit, and I played, I got the free version of my friend's place back in the States, and playing Grand Blue versus Rising, I was playing a little bit of Grimnir. He's kind of cool. Set up the giant tornado if they jump, then you, like, slap them for 1,000 damage. Cagmane? Yuck. Yuck. You nasty. How dare you. Traps? Actually traps? How's the meta with no Apocalypse? Fantastic. It's so nice to fight an opponent instead of like watching someone play solitaire. Have people been trying to get Apocalypse to work? Not that I've seen. Like, here's the thing. Digimon is really interesting in that if you limit a card to one, that card, for the most part, can't be your win condition. It absolutely cannot be your win condition anymore. Because if it gets stuck in your security, you don't have a win condition anymore. So anytime I see a card stuck to one, I'm like, alright, that's not an archetype anymore. how much is Dawn Dusk to build over there? I think one Grace Nova is like 1,800 yen, which is the equivalent of like 11, 12 bucks. So outside of that, I think everything else is pretty cheap. So take that for what you will. Grace Nova is by far the most expensive card in that deck, and he's like 12 bucks. Let me see. I don't know if you recall, but I talked to you about the ALT position with the Jet program. I didn't get the job, so I'm looking at Eon. That's actually the route that I took, Dunback. So I applied for Jet, and I was like, oh, I feel like I'm going to get this. Whoa, Bethany, my man. Thanks for dropping off the 20 months. Thanks for using that Prime, big dog. I appreciate you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good holiday. Don't mind me, I'm just jet lagged as hell. Trying to blow up my computer by dual streaming or multi-streaming, whatever they call it. And if my shit goes black and you don't see me for a couple weeks, you know that my computer died. But yeah, much appreciated, big dog. Thanks for the support. Yeah, Dunback. That's my last year of college. I applied to Jet, didn't get in, and then I started working at I started working after college for like 3 years. Was it 2 years? 2 or 3 years. And then I applied to Eon and got in there, and then I got my foot in the door and got a job. Long time no see on Twitch. Happy New Year. It's a new year, new me. I'm that guy from 2 years ago who streamed on Twitch. But yeah, I'm doing good, man. Hope you are too. Not sure if it's legit, but are training cards really part of So, yeah, Din Claws. Some people are saying, there was a rumor that said that they're going to add reprints of the training cards to starter decks 18 and 19. I don't know when those starter decks come out, but I really hope that's true, because right now the training cards, I feel like they could be a little bit cheaper. Right now the most expensive one is 11. They're like, the green training card is $11 a piece, or 1,100 yen, which is like $8, $7, something like that. So I kind of hope they reprint them just so that everybody has really good access to these nice and easy, really useful staple cards. Let's see. Omar says, I got a bunny trying to make Full Force and almost the deck is under 20 bucks when Rena makes a deck over 100. Yeah, everything else is pretty cheap except Rena. How's Imperial Dramon been doing with new support? It's good. It's very good. I really enjoy it. The new partition is amazing. Imperial Dramon Dragon mode is fantastic, and Fighter mode Ace is cool too. They have like a couple of like decks or matchups that are kind of shaky, but I think you have options to build out for those. So we'll see. How viable is Blue Flare right now? Blue Flare is still a pretty good deck. You're gonna run into problems when you fight against things like Magnamon X and Tyrant Kabuteron. Basically, any of the big walls that stop you from affecting them for whatever reason, you'll run into trouble there. But I think outside of that, Blue Flare is not bad. I want 3 Musketeers. Beelstar gotta die. I'm sorry. Beelstar's gotta die. Purple's the most expensive? Yeah. So the training cards, D Paladin, they will basically... I feel like the way it works is... whatever archetype, whatever color is really good at that moment, that's like the most expensive training card. So before this, I think green was like 400 yen a piece. And then once all the BT16 stuff came out, and it's like Tyrant Kabuteron is really good. Terriermon is really good. People are like, all right, green's got to go up. I want greens for those decks, so. Any theories on what Bird, Agu, and Shugabu are going to do in the new starters? Wait, what? Oh, yeah, the new starters are based off of that new... the new Digimon project. What's the name of it again? Digimon... We could just go to the website and find out, right? Liberator, that's it. Yeah. The starter decks are based off of these, right? I don't know, man. Maybe it's because I didn't expect this to be a sim. But, man, folks in the West were pissed. Folks in the West were big mad that this wasn't a sim. Jesus. I was like, man, it's cool that they hand drew those Digimon cards for their Digimon TCG online simulator, and they didn't just use a stock card image skewed. I don't know what to tell you if you expected it. Yeah, I don't know why you would expect that. Yeah. There are times where I have to stop myself from making an ignorant tweet, and that was one of those times. I had it queued up. I was like, all right, I'm ready. And then I sat back and I like, all right, give me 5 minutes before I tweet this out and piss people off. And then I decided I deleted it and just got rid of it. Hope Wong Zero's sim is as good as folks advertise. Yeah, I think the one that he's helping out with, I've heard good things. He contacted me over the holiday about it and asked me if I'd heard anything about it, and I said, yeah, a little bit, but I think the way they're getting around the copyright or the cease and desist is by not including any actual card images. So it's just like basically a program, and then you have to add in the card images yourself. I think things might get hairy when people have to like find where those card images packs are coming from. Those folks are gonna get, I think, a lot of trouble. We'll see. I'll sit and watch popcorn though. It's in my drafts. Don't lie. Is it in my drafts? I'm pretty sure I deleted it. Let's see. Post. Drafts. Nope. It is gone. Thank God it's gone. Ooh. I'd have pissed a lot of people off. I don't want to be in the habit of pissing people off, so I'll be a nice guy. When you get to my age, you're like, all right, young folks gonna do young folks things. I'll just be here hanging out. Let me see. With repeated question, with a new ban list, the West is gonna have a brand new 15 format. Thoughts on what could be really good for that set? Without a Patamon. Without Garurumon, EX5 doesn't really add much, does it? Let's take a look here. Hold on. Shoutouts to my man Karotaku updating the site. Wait, he put it back. What the hell? Why did you do that? So this is the website that I use to like look up cards and stuff, and it got an update recently, and just today they updated so this bar right here was on the top, and now it's on the left side, and I liked it on the top. Damn, they changed it back. All right, so profiles, note collections, note deck builder. Damn, why did they change it? It was so good before. I liked it before. Why did you do that? So we're looking at EX5 stuff. Yeah, outside of Nightclaw, Light Fang, and I guess Leomon? Leomon's pretty cool. Huh. Honestly, I might tell you to just stick with Fer Lugon. Deva could be problematic, but I think the answer is to stick with Fer Lugon here. Leomon's good. Fang not bad. You might get some use out of Leopardmon, although honestly, considering that green doesn't get touched at all, you might be able to just run Bloom Lord and still do really well with a couple copies of Quantumon. Hey, Black Ace, what's up, man? Happy holidays. Hope you had a good one. Must be a lot saved in those drafts with the pause that long. Nah, bro. I'm not a demon. I'm not a demon. That's not me. I don't do that. I'm just a kind guy. Did you play Deva at all? I played it a smidge. I'm once I realized like how it plays, I'm like, this isn't really like the aggressive style that I like, so I'm like, I'm out. What are we looking at? I just finished up my TED Talk, man. I just finished up my jet lag TED Talk where I went over all the decks in the meta, or all the BT16 decks, or most of the ones that I found. I gave them stars ratings. I talked about some of the cool things about each of them. I talked about some of the hard parts about the decks. Maybe some things that they could be improved. I gave a whole TED Talk, bro. And then I talked about the whole environment together. Guess you gotta catch the archives. Or I might make a video. I might chop it up and make a video. DL Loki's EX5 is skippable to the majority of the fandom. I don't... You could be right here. I mean, for a lot of folks, if you don't like Leomon, or you don't care for the Deva cards, or you don't like the Grace Nova stuff, you can probably skip EX5. But I would rather people not like one set than have to deal with like a really toxic meta for like multiple sets. People are like, I wanted to use a Patamon, or I wanted to use the Anubismon. I think to myself, look, at any time, you can go and buy your $3 copies of a Patamon and play it with your best friend who also is running some jank Anubismon stuff, and you guys can run that until the cows come home. But not in a tournament. Not in an event. I don't want that. I don't know anybody who wants that. Invested in every set, but this one I'm actually skipping. That means you can save for the next set. There you go. That's the move. That's the move. Want to ask, is it fine to run 3 Magna X Sec on my Magnamon deck? My budget only able to afford 3. XLR, bro. If you like Magnamon X and you only got 3, well, you run those 3 into the ground, homie. Keep in mind that the Magnamon deck does have that... What's it called? It's that armor... what is it? Armor of the Golden Knight? I don't actually know the English translation for this card. What is it? It's the yellow 3-cost option card that lets you Digivolve into the Magnamon named Digimon for no cost, or for 3 cost, the cost of the option card. But also on Inheritance, not Inheritance, but also for security, you can grab the Magnamon back from the trash. So just run a couple more copies of that bad boy right there, and you have a better chance of getting one of the 3 that maybe were sent to the trash back to your hand, so you can play them all over again. How are bunnies doing in Japan? What the hell are bunnies? Oh, you mean Terriermon? They're doing fantastic, man. Don't worry about them. I'll Good news is that tomorrow I will put out my I'll restart doing the meta report. So to all the folks who are members on YouTube, you'll see that tomorrow, and then for everybody else who's not a member, you'll see that on Monday. So we'll get I'll start redoing all of my meta reports tomorrow. I think I'm gonna skip everything before January 5th, though. I don't think anybody cares about all those banned cards. Awakening of the Golden Knight. Thank you, Brando. Yeah. It also prevents DP reduction. Facts. And no problem, Again, if you like a deck, if you got all the cards or you don't got all the cards, run that. I mean, if it's not fun, what's the point? Let me see. You said live meta report? Oh, no. Recorded, but it will be live tomorrow. It will be live tomorrow. Oh, the Deva deck running... The Deva Ace cards are worth running a set of, worth keeping a set of. Actually, Dan Claus, it's funny you mentioned that. I posted up on Twitter yesterday, but I went to the card shop to buy my last Rapidmon X antibody, and I bought one, and then I immediately spent 1,000 yen for the shop. Does this little thing where they like seal a bunch of cards up, and you can like choose one and they have like all of them have like pretty decent cards, but there's some that are like super good, like new super good stuff, or like alt arts that are really hard to come by. And I pulled one, and it was Rapidmon X Antibody, and I looked at the shopkeeper, I'm like, you've got to be shitting me. and the shopkeeper was cool enough to actually buy it back from me at the price that I bought for the original Rapidmon X Antibody. So he bought it for me from. So I basically just got a Rapidmon X Antibody for $10. I'm like, damn, what a nice guy. What a nice feller. Shaka Shaka Torika. Shaka Shaka Trading Card. Great shop. My favorite shop. Why do you think Beelstar is a problem? Is it the discard cards that Oh, Pap. I have an unnatural hatred for Beelstarmon. Beelstarmon now is fine. Beforehand, when it was running the Garurumon engine, it just had everything. So, Beelstarmon could run the Garurumon engine on the lower end, and once they get to level 5, they can just keep making security attacks, so there's pressure on your opponent. But if your opponent tried to make a play to counter that, you had the Beelstarmon set up already because of the trash that the Garurumon engine accumulated, and then you could just drop a Beelstar and then just, fly bullet something or, what have you. So, like, it was really hard to even get around at all. Like, in most cases, you're trying to, like, just outrun your opponent. So, Beelstar when it was fast? Beelstar when it was Garurumon. I know you're a machine stan. I am. I just wish I could play it. How do you think it'll fare now in the West with the Patamon and Garurumon restricted? Think back to when Fer Lugon came out. Right around, pretty much that. It'll definitely be better because it doesn't just auto lose to Apocalypse, so you don't have to worry about like that anymore. But however good it was in the West when Fer Lugon was out is probably where it'll be. Cut them some slack. They lost Eismon? Nah, bro, that's fine. Yeah, y'all good. Eismon was not cut for Beelstar or Garurumon. Eismon was cut because it limited design future designs. There we go. Eismon's realize. Don't try to lie to me in my face. I know why Eismon got hit. Any thoughts on the Tyrant Kabuteron deck? I love Tentomon, and I'm so happy that I can run a Tentomon-based deck. Me and all my homies used to hate green, but in this set, in BC16, that ain't the case no more. Yeah, Tyrant Kabuteron just casually being 20,000 DP on my opponent's turn and unaffected by Digimon effects is really funny to me. Also, please don't DCD bomb my Tyrant Kabuteron. Pretty please. Don't hurt me. Yeah, someone mentioned this. I haven't read the end of Seekers or most of Seekers, but somebody said that Machine Dramon is in Seekers. And if Marvin Jackson is any indication of that, I'm hoping that they get more Machine Dramon stuff in the last set of Seekers, and maybe that introduces a new way of playing Machine Dramon. I think it's been a while since EX1 dropped, and that Machine Dramon, while I love and I think is really cool, might be a little bit dated at this point. Like I mentioned this before, but yeah, I mentioned this before during my stream right before the holiday. But if you think about Machine Dramon's effect, it's, hey, if you would be destroyed, you can take 2 cards from your sources, throw them away, and you're not destroyed anymore. Greymon is kind of the same thing. Greymon with the Greymon X Antibody in sources is pretty much the same thing. and it's faster, and it's like, yeah, it's faster. Like, it's faster, and it's arguably stronger. It's hard to make a case for Machine Dramon and Chaos Dramon in that case. Chaos Dramon, of course, having the D-Digivolve stuff is nice, but, I mean, technically, Greymon has, like, D-Digivolve 1. So, like, it's a lesser version to some extent, but I feel like it's still not comparable. Like, it's hard for Machine Dramon to compare to Greymon. What would I like to see in terms of a new way to play it? I honestly couldn't tell you. I think I would like something similar to... might get crucified for this. Something similar to how the Royal Knights deck worked, where you would play something to put a Machine Dramon into your sources, and then turn over turn you could like build machines into, or like absorb machines into your racing area. Not sources yet, racing area. I misspoke just a moment ago. But yeah, then like turn over turn you find a way to put like machines or cyborgs into the racing area, and then when they come out, like you have this insane crazy boss monster Machine Dramon. That'd be interesting. Something almost like Megazoo style would be a cool way to play, I think. I forgot how interesting like high cost decks were. Like when you first play Digimon, you play against mid-range decks and aggressive decks. You're like, okay, this is the game. And then you have that moment where you come across a Megazoo deck for the first time, and you're like, yo, hold on. I didn't even know this was possible. And you get that like moment in your head. I like that. I like that. I like that there's different ways to play the game. And for the past like 7 sets, from like 7 to 14, that really, or 7 to 13, it really wasn't an option. Like you couldn't really run like Megazoo decks to that degree anymore. But when they had Royal Knights, even though I didn't like fighting against Royal Knights, I thought it was cool that that was a way that you could play the game. I'm always a big fan for like new ways to like turn the game on its head, and that's, in my opinion, really cool. I think like those kinds of decks are far and few between, but are a welcome addition to the game, where you don't just like Digimon, raise up, hit, win game, you know? Like, I played against a guy who was running Omnimon Megazoo with a lot of the BT-15 Apocalypse cards, and it was a cool deck. It was really neat. He would like drop the like level, or the 6 cost level 5 for that were typically used for the Dark Masters, but in this case he would just go into like a Machine Dramon, I think it was, in Raising, and he would somehow get that to an Omnimon. Oh yeah, he could, because it's a white Digimon. He would get that into an Omnimon, and then he could just like, for low cost, just go into like every version of Omnimon. And you had to like deal with some really, really disgusting effects, like turn after turn. Hey! Howdy, what's up, Hobby? I saw you were running Rapidmon today, good stuff. Well done. Where did you play? We gotta get a Magnamon deck. I don't know. If we get a new Magnamon deck, make it good with Edamon. That's all I have. Cardon? Oh, okay. Oh, it's an EX? Man, come on. Wait, have they changed the format for EX yet? Is it still like number locked? Or block locked? Block icon locked? Whatever they want to call it. Oh, only green? Yuck. That's a lot of Terriermon. That's a whole lot of Terriermon. Next month is Highlander? Really? Official Highlander is kind of funny. That could be fun. I might actually dip my toe in for the X's for Highlander. That could be cool. That might be something I'd be interested in. because Block Icon, in my opinion, is not super interesting. Monocolor is not super interesting. I think it'd be cool if the monocolor was like one color. You could have a whole deck of only one color. I played Leomon. Yeah, Leomon's fun. I'm not even fronting. Leomon's a cool deck. Yeah, Terror, Lopmon, Tyrant, Leomon. Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah, I like the previous ones where it was just like only block 2 and 3. I was like, this is kind of meh. And then like there were some cards that like reprinted versions had higher block numbers and lower, like right when the card was first originally released, they didn't have the blocks, so you had to like have a later version of the card. Like, I'm like, oh, I don't want to deal with any of that, so I'm just not gonna do any of that. I'm good. I'm not gonna do any of that at all. Dang, it's already 1 a.m. Alright, folks, I think I might have to turn in for the evening. I've got to get up early tomorrow, and I've got to clean my entire apartment, and then I've got to make a video, so got a meta report to do. And I've got to mess with... I want to mess with this Rapidmon deck and this Dorogoromon deck a little bit more, so we'll see. So I think, folks, I'm gonna make my way out of here. But I appreciate you folks stopping by and coming through. Yeah, one copy of a card for Commander. I think it's 50 cards. Is that right? They pushed an announcement saying you could use old cards. Really? Oh, okay. Color me surprised. But yeah, I think I'm gonna head out, folks. It's super late. I'm in DGen hours right now, and I gotta go to bed. I've gotta fix my jet lag. I have to. Otherwise, I'm gonna be like this for like the next month, and I can't afford to do that. Got too much work to do. Yeah. All right, folks. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for coming by. Good to see a lot of familiar faces, and I guess I will catch you folks the next time I stream. Which, if I'm still jet lagged, is not that far off. So yeah, look forward to that, I suppose. All right, nighty night, folks. Y'all be good. Bye.